Have any of you heard about the Lucy Letby case? So there's a case in Britain where a woman had been suspended, a woman has been sentenced to life in prison for murdering babies in this country, like recently. So this has happened in the past, but like she's finally been convicted and sentenced to prison. So see, this woman is from Cheshire, and she is from more of an affluent background, so she's middle class or originally from a middle class family or background. So she worked as a nurse, and numerous times, like consultants, have made complaints about this woman murdering babies because anytime she was on shift, babies were dying. Like literally, anytime this lady was on shift, babies were dying. So consultants, seniors, doctors, and everyone raised concerns about the fact that this lady could be murdering babies. Nobody took it seriously. So I think in the UK, when it comes to complaints, for example, there's a rank or there's hierarchies in which complaints go through. So if someone raises an alarm and then it goes from one hierarchy to someone else to someone else, but the whole process took a whole year just for them to come out and say that actually she was being bullied, that she wasn't doing anything. She wasn't killing babies, she wasn't doing none of it. I'm like, wait, at least if someone is gonna raise a concern that someone is killing babies, and there is some degree of evidence because anytime she was on shift, babies were dying, at least put an effort in investigating as opposed to being lazy and trying to defend the woman. Instead, you could have just investigated, and some people found a better angle to this particular thing where they said there's a racial component to it, in a sense that I was watching LBC last night, and there was a lady who was a GP who called, who's of Pakistani origin. She's British, but she's of Pakistani origin. She said if she would have done anything similar or remotely close to what Lucy Letby done, or had she had been accused, she would not have gotten the benefit of the doubt like Lucy Letby did. She wouldn't. So there's a racial component to it. The way the media was portraying Lucy Letby as someone who's lost, someone who made a mistake, you can just see purely by the headlines about the case. It was never like sadistic, evil, horrible person. It was always this victim made a mistake. Bro, you can't make a mistake killing babies. She knew exactly what she was doing. It was methodical. She knew exactly what she was doing. It was calculated and methodical. So I'm glad that she got a life prison sentence. But I really want to know, what are your thoughts on the case in itself? Because I can guarantee if you're going to add a racial component to it, had that been a black person who'd been accused, they didn't even have to do it. All they have to be is just accused of doing it. And they would be berated by the public, and everyone would already presume that they're guilty, even though the whole cornerstone of our criminal justice system is based on the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. But if you're a person of color, we all can agree that we're not seen as innocent. So if a black person would have been someone who was accused of doing what Lucy Letby did, I can guarantee you that the media would have written their headlines almost in a tonality that this person is actually guilty. So I think that is the problem precisely in Britain. I think there is a lot of institutionalized racism in Britain, and white people, as a result of that institutionalized racism, white people, especially white people who are of middle class backgrounds, tend to generally get the benefit of the doubt, whereas people of color, regardless of socioeconomic status, don't get that benefit of the doubt because of the racial components to a lot of these different things. I remember this. I remember when I was in secondary school, a black kid would do something and get into trouble for it. A white kid had been doing the same thing multiple times, but they've been getting away with it. Literally, multiple times. I remember my little brother said he got into trouble. He got into trouble in school because, I don't know, he was playing, he was doing something. And then one of the kids was doing the same thing, and the teacher was there. The teacher didn't say nothing until my little brother started doing it, and the teacher started complaining and shouting at him. and then obviously wrote a letter of complaint and stuff that he had to take home. And the reason why I believe my little brother that he didn't do it was because I had similar experiences growing up in the education system in Britain. I had a similar sort of like experience growing up in it, Britain, going through the education system where a white kid would do something, but the black kid gets blamed for it, which is just ridiculous, to be honest. So it's almost like the Lucy Letby case correlated to a lot of our experiences, where Lucy Letby, a woman who's done horrendous stuff, literally gets the benefit of the doubt, whereas people of color, if that would have been a woman of color accused of what she did, she doesn't even have to do it, but she would be berated in public, bro. They would have assumed that she already done it. The titles, the headlines would have been written in a manner where it's like, oh, she did it, blah, 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 blah. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, I really do want to know your thoughts about this case, to be honest, because this is a landmark case in Britain. It really is a landmark case, to be honest, because rarely have we seen anything as heinous as like what Lucy Letby had done. It was just absolutely horrendous. So yeah, I would definitely like to see your perspective in the comment sections. Would you say there's a racial component to it, in a sense that would you say there is an element of white privilege based on the fact that she could do all of those horrendous stuff and the media still portrays her as being an angel based on their tonality, based on how they wrote the headlines? Whereas we all know if that would have been a person of color, they wouldn't really get the benefit of the doubt. Anyways, let's move on to a different topic.